Okay, continuing with section 2.1, of course, part of our problem is interpreting problems that involve percentages, and a lot of people have trouble interpreting these correctly. So let's see if we can set this up in such a way that we're looking for whatever we're being asked to find here. So it says 21 of 35 students in an algebra class scored an A or B on the first exam. So they're asking, well, what percentage of students scored an A and B on the first exam? Well, we're asking what percentage, right? And we're seeing what percentage. Very often we go right to our formula for percentages, which says that if we take a percentage of some base number, we're going to get an amount. Well, what pieces of the puzzle do we have here? Well, we don't have the percentage because we're being asked, well, what percent scored an A or B? But we know that 21 of our students scored an A or B, right? And that was out of 35 students. So we're taking the percentage of those 35 students to find out, well, which part of it gives us 21. So that's it. That's how we figure this out. The percentage we're going to solve for by taking our base, 35, and getting 21. Well, what does that do? Well, we're going to take our percentage. We're going to divide both sides by 35 to solve this equation. Remember, balancing the equation by dividing both sides by the same number. So we're going to have to reduce 21 out of 35 to get us a percentage number. 21 out of 35. Well, that seems like a fraction that we can deal with because 21, don't forget, and 35 both share a common factor. And anytime I run into a fraction, the very first thing I always do is reduce the fraction. So let's divide both of these by 7. What do we get? 21 divided by 7. Well, that's 3. 35 divided by 7. What do we get? Well, divide 35 by 7 and you get 5. So in fact, our value for P is 3/5. But we're still interested in what percentage that would be equal to. So we want to figure out what is 3/5. Well, remember that a percentage is some number out of 100. So what we're going to do, if we're going to convert this into a percentage number, we're going to take this and we're going to multiply it by 100. So we're going to take 3/5 and we multiply by 100 to figure out what percentage number that would be. Well, all right, 100 is the same thing as 100 over 1, so we figure out 5 divides into 100 how many times? 20, that's correct. 3 times 20, of course, that's 60. So our percentage is 60%. 3/5 is equivalent to 60%. So 60% scored an A or a B. Let's try another one right here. At Memorial Community College, there are 220 faculty members, and 15% of the faculty members teach mathematics. How many faculty members teach mathematics? Well, now let's figure out what information we're given. Remember, we have our model. The percentage times some base is equal to the amount. Well, what are we being given right here? Well, we're told what the percentage is, 15%. Right, so we're going to be taking 15% of some base. Well, what base? Well, not all of the faculty members are mathematics teachers, but 15% of them are. So that means we're going to be taking 15% of that 220, which is going to be our base, to get our number or our amount of mathematics faculty. So let's take that. 15% of 220 we would write as 0.15 times 220 equals our amount. Now, I know a lot of people do not like fractions. That's okay. I'm going to help you out right here. You don't have to power through the mathematics to do this every time. If you remember that 15 out of 100 is the same thing as 15%. Right? So if I have a fraction like this, let's see if there's something we can divide. 15 and 100 definitely share a common factor of 5, right? 15 divided by 5 is 3. 100 divided by 5 would be 20. So this is really equivalent to saying, well, 3 out of 20 of those 220 are going to be mathematics faculty. All right, 3 out of 220. Well, definitely. There's something we can divide out right now. We know that 10 is a common divisor to 220 and 20. And furthermore, 2 divides into 22 to give us 11. Well, this is a lot easier because 3 times 11 gives us 33, and so there are 33 math faculty at the Memorial Community College. All right, let's try one more. This one is an application about simple interest. Well, what's the formula for simple interest? Well, we've heard that one before, but if you don't remember it, it's kind of like our percentage, except that the interest amount is the percentage of some amount of money that's invested that is paid back for holding that money. So it works like this. Interest is always equal to a principal, which is the amount of money invested, times the rate, the annual percentage rate at which it's held, times the amount of time, where time is in years. All right, so let's figure out what we've got right here in our expression. We've got $205 as our principal. So we're going to let our principal be that $205. 205. Okay. Our interest rate is always given as an annual interest rate, so that's per year. It's 10%. But whenever we express it in our formula, we're going to write it as a decimal. 0.10 is what we need right here. And the time is 18 months, but time should always be expressed in years. So what's 18 months in years? Well, to find out, remember that there are 12 months per year. So it's going to be 1 year for every 12 months. So we convert this. Let me try writing that out. It doesn't come out quite as well as I had hoped. Let me see. 1 year is equivalent to 12 months. So 18 and 12, although share a common factor, both are divisible by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 2. 18 divided by 3 is 6. I'm sorry, this is 4 right here. And of course, 6 and 12, those are both divisible by 2. So this is really the same thing as saying 3/2 or 1.5 of a year. All right, so this is going to be what we substitute into our formula right here. So to get the interest, we're going to take that $205. We're going to multiply it by the rate. The rate is 0.10 times the amount of time. And this time we're going to write it as the fraction 3/2 of a year. All right, so let's work this through. 205 times 0.10. Well, actually, 205 times 0.10 is going to be 20.5 times 3/2. 20.5 times 3/2. Well, let's see. How many times will 2 go into 20.5? I know that 2 goes into 20.5 10. And half of 0.5 is 0.25 times 3. So if I take 10.25 times 3, I know that 0.25 times 3 is 0.75. And 3 times 10 is 30. And so my interest amount will be $30.75.